Woo-wee! On the Village Boy podcast today, we're talking about we've gone back to immigration. We've gone back to statuses, and it's a major breaking news. So you see my beautiful caption: breaking news on the Village Boy podcast. We have found a new label, a new identifier, a new marker, and we're gonna analyze that today. Before we jump on that, please just go ahead and click on the like button, click on subscribe, and let's have this conversation. And like I said, major breaking news on the Village Boy podcast. The jobs reports out. The jobs report is out. And amazing news. Amazing news. But for who? Are we attacking the Democrats on this one? And like I said, on the Village Boy podcast, we're having fair conversation. We don't take sides. What is in the news? We're going to analyze it the way I think about it and how I see it. So, what is this breaking news? Let's go ahead and hear the president. And I love this guy. He's the one breaking his own job reports. I mean, I saw it with the press secretary, but the president is out here reading out his own job reports, right? Let's go ahead and talk about why is this some kind of breaking news, correct? The president is about to do his big announcement about the jobs report and why I think it's a major breaking news. There's a new label in there, a new caption that we're going to talk about today. And without further ado, let's play this clip.
Employment for native-born workers went up by 284,000, while foreign-born workers for native-born Americans for the first time in 15.
Did you hear that? Breaking news. New label, native born Americans. And so we're going to come back to that. Let's listen in on this new caption. It's something new. I've never heard of it. It's something new that we're going to talk about. That's the breaking news. The president used something pretty much interesting. Let's hear that again.
For native-born Americans.
The job reports is for native born Americans. It's not for all Americans, it's just for native born Americans. I don't know if there's going to be a job reports for the other Americans, but this job report is for native born Americans. And let's go ahead and listen to how good or bad. I think it's the president. If he's reading it, it has to, he's a numbers guy. He has to love his own numbers. So let's go ahead and listen to this job report.
For native-born Americans for the first time in 15 months, the job gains for native-born Americans, for American people born in America, exceeded job gains for migrant and foreign-born workers. This is the first time that's happened in more than 15 months. Employment for native-born workers went up by 284,000, while foreign-born workers went down by 87,000. Now, you've heard the same stat where foreign workers were taking up all the jobs or almost all the jobs. In some cases, literally all of the jobs. And now it's 284,000 native-born jobs here, people born in our country, 284,000, while foreign-born workers went down by 87,000. First time that's happened in a long time. So these are incredible numbers, and they're very early. I mean, we're here for 5 weeks, but we have been talking about it since the big win in November 5th. So a lot of these people, they listen to us speak and they say, well, I'm going to gear up, and they're gearing up. And so they've been gearing up. They've had a little time. It's not.
Okay, we could probably cut it off here because he's, him. After he has passed in the message, he's going to ramble for a little bit and say a bunch of stuff that really doesn't amount or add value to what he just said. So The job reports for native born Americans. Whoa, bravo. 200 plus thousand jobs for the first time in 15 months. Has anybody ever heard a jobs report that was uniquely for native born Americans? I have never heard it. I've heard job reports for Americans, which encompasses native born Americans, naturalized Americans, all Americans. As long as you're American, you were included in this job report. But for the first time, the Trump administration has created a job report only, maybe not only, but at least they're isolating the part that they're touting for native born. As my breaking news for today. So, what about the Americans who are not native born? Wait, what kind of Americans cannot be native born? Because every American should be born in America. Is that what the Constitution says? Huh. Hmm. Interesting. Do we need to look into this? Because I don't know that every American is a native born American. So is this a precedent? Is this what we're starting now? Are we beginning to isolate who is a native born? And how, what jobs are this? What jobs are specifically looking or isolating? And they're saying in the private sector, what private sector jobs are looking for native born only candidates? Because I'm thinking when you see a job, you apply. A passport is not a requirement. That's where you get to see. I mean, a birth certificate. Most companies don't ask for a form of identification as driver's license. If you're a citizen, your passport would be your form of identification, and in your passport, then your place of birth. So, as the Trump administration secretly breaking down jobs and specifically isolating native born and foreign born, because the grouping here is foreign born and native born Americans. Every other person who was not born in America is grouped as a foreigner under this. And for the first time, the native born Americans supersede. They've taken over jobs from Americans naturalized and foreign born Americans, because the Americans that are foreign born. And I don't know if Trump knows that a foreign born American is a native born American. I don't know. But let's look at this. Let's look at this distinction, because oftentimes those distinctions are a little muddy. Because Americans who are working abroad, service people working abroad is outside of the United States. Let's say you're working in the American embassy in Jakarta, Indonesia. You're married to an American woman. Both of you were born in Seminole, Oklahoma. Beautiful white people, and you're doing some administrative work in the embassy in Jakarta. All right, let's lose that. Let's use that in Indonesia. I don't know if the embassy is out there, but you're doing some U.S. work out there. You're married with your spouse. You get pregnant, and you have a baby in Jakarta. That is American. That's an American baby by birth. But let's back this up. Let's look at this and see what it says. Because my understanding of native born jobs are only two jobs. Before we look at that, only two jobs, the president and the vice president, that says you have to be a natural born citizen, right? And let's look at that first. Let's look at the natural born citizen and see what it says. A natural born citizen is a person who is born in the United States or born abroad to United States US citizen parents, which means that you're both parents. This principle is known as birthright citizenship. So you don't have to be born on US soil to even run for president. In the case of John McCain, he was born in Panama to American citizens. So if the American job report is strictly isolating native born. Does that mean that native born children born outside of America that can compete, that can actually run for president and not making this list? Am I am I the one not understanding this native born? Because it says here citizenship at birth in the United States. Anyone born in the United States and subject to its jurisdiction is a citizen at birth. This includes children born to members of Aboriginal tribes. This is regardless of the immigration status of the parent. So up to this point where Trump has not changed birthright citizen, this law holds true. Citizenship at birth abroad. Again, so the example I was giving, Americans residing outside of the US. A child born abroad may be a citizen if at least one parent is a US citizen. A US citizen parent must meet certain criteria or physical residence requirement in the United States before the child's birth. This is what it says, correct? So we're looking at this. The term natural born citizen is used in the Constitution to establish eligibility for office of president and vice president. So these are the only two positions that you must be a natural born citizen. And when they're giving us a job report today saying it's for native born citizens, which means we're no longer looking at the US, the president and the vice. We're looking now at regular jobs, regular everyday jobs, because they're private sector jobs that are mandating that you have to be a native born, because that has to be it. Because how else are they able to figure out who is a native born, who's naturalized, and who's a foreign born? And I asked the question: are foreign born American children included in this job report? Which means kids that were born anywhere else in the world have moved back to the States, but their passports and birth certificate are always going to say they were born in a foreign country. Are they included in that job report if they got a job? Are we setting a dangerous precedence here? Maybe I'm the one that's not understanding this job report. A job report for native born Americans. But who's a native born American? Who? Because the Constitution is very clear. Either these people are not versed with the Constitution, or we need to look some more, right? We need to be able to look into this some more. Let's go ahead and look into this some more, because I'm probably the one not understanding this and I need clarity. So I asked Google, what does the Constitution say about native born? The US Constitution's 14th Amendment, which this 14th Amendment was created for descendants of slaves. Now, every European, every immigrant is benefiting from this, but it was an amendment designed uniquely for Black Americans, because Black Americans are the only people in America that are not immigrants. And this was their own amendment that every other person now benefits from it. All persons born or naturalized in the United States, or naturalized, but we have a job report that does not include naturalized people. It only covers, let's watch that again so that people don't mistake that. Let's watch that job report that the president just gave here. Let's go ahead and watch that job report again so that people are aware of what the job report.
For native born Americans.
Native born Americans. This job report that the president is touting, it's only for native born Americans. It does not include naturalized Americans. And MAGA has told us that we want people to come to America legally. But now, when you come legally, you're secluded. What is it with the Republican Party and segregation? What is it with the Republican Party and segregation? Why is anybody celebrating the segregation of Americans? Now we're talking about native born, But who is a native born? He says that clearly.
For the first time in 15 months,
For the first time in 15 months, which means I think the last time they did it was 15 months. I have never heard of any jobs report reported like this. I have never heard of it.
the job gains for native born Americans.
He's so proud to say it. The job gains for native born Americans. Native born Americans. So you have to have been born here. So they're segregating every person in America. What is the essence? Is this a code word for white Americans? Why do people create this scenario? So, Mr. President, what is the job report for naturalized Americans?
Americans, for American people, people born in America, exceeded job gains for migrant and foreign born workers.
Migrants and foreign born. There's still a segment that is excluded. What about foreign born Americans? Born to two American parents. Those are native born Americans because they can run for president. They're naturally born Americans. So they're native born because they can be president and vice. The Constitution says if you are born to an American parent in a foreign country, you are a natural born American. It does say that. That's what the Constitution says. A natural born citizen is a person who is born in the United States or born abroad to a United States parent. This principle is known as birthright citizenship. Mr. President, why are we creating segregation in America right now when the Constitution is very clear about this situation? And MAGA is running wild with this. Predominantly white MAGA is running wild with this. They're happy to see this level of segregation. So I'll ask again, where is the job report for the naturalized Americans that you guys have celebrated? You're like, we want people to come to America legally, like Elon Musk that you so much love. Elon Musk is a naturalized American citizen. And it's somebody who whenever you see, know there are going to be job cuts. Elon Musk is not known for his job creation. So is Elon Musk a naturalized citizen factored in this job report? Where does he fall? Is he, because he's white, happen to fall in the native born, or is he a foreigner? Are you now considering Elon Musk, who does not have a good pedigree for job creation, as a foreigner? So you've taken his citizen status away from him, and now you've assigned him an immigrant status because immigrants cannot be citizens and citizens cannot be immigrants. So either we're not passing out the right communication, or we are intentionally focused on segregating America along racial lines. Because not too long ago, Mr. President, you talked about black jobs. You said the immigrants were taking the black jobs. You never said the immigrants were taking the native born jobs. You said the immigrants were taking the black jobs. This was what, Mr. President, you said during the campaign. And you got a little backlash from black people, black Democrats. Yeah, black Democrats, they're always emotional. They're going to rant, they're going to cry. But you got a little pushback that didn't amount to anything. Mr. President, when you were saying black jobs, were they Native American jobs that these immigrants were taking, but you just called it black jobs? And now the native jobs is the black jobs are included in this Native American jobs? Because I don't understand. And I would love if somebody can explain this to me. If you look at it, there's no native anywhere. It's natural. Natural. That's the word. The term natural born citizen, right here, highlighted here, is used in the Constitution to establish eligibility for office of president and vice president. Mr. President, only a natural born citizen can be president and vice president. And so when you give a job report on Native American people born, are you not excluding a whole lot of people? And to whose gain, to whose benefit? Why are we intentionally excluding anybody from the job reports? Why does it matter? You are the one. Your first term, Mr. President, you stopped H-1B visa. There was nothing like foreign because you stopped it. But now that Elon Musk supports H-1B visa, his favorite place to hire and recruit people for his companies, instead of you shutting it down, now you're reading a report for native born American. It is here as clear as day. We need to learn these things. We need to know these things. And we need to, most importantly, stop the segregation. You say one thing, but you mean something else. A hidden label. I don't know if this means something else because the last time you did say black jobs and now you're saying native born as like you're assuming that this is I don't want to say because you didn't say it right, but because you expressly said during the campaign black jobs, immigrants are taking black jobs. You never called it a native job, and now you are saying native jobs. Who is part of this native job? Who makes up this body? If your wife was working, Mr. President, our beautiful first lady, if she was working, would she make up part of the native born jobs? And why are we excluding her? Your wife, your own wife. Why are we excluding her from this job report, Mr. President? She's a naturalized citizen. If Elon Musk was working, are we going to exclude him? And for what particular reason are we excluding naturalized citizens? And for what reason are we excluding foreign born who could be presidents? You don't see the word naturalization in anybody's passport. It's only the place of birth that says that you could be you're foreign born. So, but I'm foreign born to American parents or foreign parents, non-American parents. This is a distraction. This is segregation. This is a conversation that is truly not needed. Let's go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's have this conversation in the comment section because I need to understand the difference between a natural born and a native born in the context of reading a jobs report. Why does it matter? You were running to make America great for Americans, not specifically native born Americans. For all Americans, naturalized, foreign born, and native born. How about we make America great for naturalized, foreign born, and native born Americans? Every shape and form of Americans. There's not a better American. There's not a preferential American. They're just Americans. The only exception for Americans is in the condition of running for president and vice president. This is the only exception. You have to be a natural born citizen. Any other thing, there are no exceptions. An American is an American. So, Mr. President, do me a favor, watch my YouTube channel, learn on how what language you need to use. Have your press secretary watch my YouTube channel. She should hit the like button. She should hit the subscribe button because I'm educating Americans that America is for Americans. That's a wrap for today. Have your say in the comment section. Hit the like button if you're liking it, and do not forget to subscribe. Bye.